Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Recently Games Workshop announced new Assault Terminators and a new Ancient in Terminator Armour, and even if I'm a little bit late with this video, I would like to use this opportunity to share with all of you my first impressions and my opinions about these new miniatures. Especially because I would like to know what you think about these new miniatures, so obviously I invite you to let me know in the comments what you think about these new Terminators. Anyway, enough of the introduction, let's start talking about those new Assault Terminators. Personally, I consider that Assault Intercessors really needed this upgrade. They needed to have new miniatures because at the beginning of the current edition of Warhammer 40k, there was a new kit for the regular Terminators, and of course in comparison they were looking outdated. I'm not saying that they looked bad or something, it's just that when we have new Terminators for the generic Space Marines, then we have new Terminators for the Dark Angels, and we also have new Terminators for the Space Wolves. Of course, the generic Assault Terminator was looking quite outdated in comparison. Now that we established how important was this new kit for these Assault Terminators, we can start talking about the new miniatures. And of course, I like a lot what I'm seeing here because this is what I expected. I mean, these are generic Terminators, so of course we know how the Terminator Armour looks. We saw the upgrade with the regular Terminator, so I was expecting exactly the same, just that they were going to have thunder hammers and shields or the lightning claws. At first, maybe I thought that they were going to use exact same shields that, for example, the Blade Guard was wearing, because when they announced the Chaplain in Terminator Armour, he had that huge shield, so I was like, okay, maybe they are going to change the shield of the Terminators to have it like this one, the same with the Blade Guard, but no, and I'm happy that it's different. I like this vibe that they have, so I'm happy that they didn't change it. I consider that the big shield of the Chaplain in Terminator Armour looks great. But if we only have that kind of shield for characters, I think that it's going to look better and it's going to pop out much more. Aside from that, I also like that some of the Terminators on the chest, they have the Aquila instead of having the regular Imperialis, so that's a nice detail right there, like, because yes, Terminator Armour is ancient, so it makes sense to me that they are kind of different, that they are not all looking the same with the same pattern, because it's something that the best Space Marines are wearing, so of course it makes sense that they should be a little bit more different, not all of them wearing exactly the same power armor. Obviously we need to talk about the Sergeant because he's slightly unique. He has like extra protection, that it's nice. That's something that the previous Assault Terminators had, so it's good to see it here again. And of course it adds a little bit more of presence to the Sergeant. Aside from that, it has like a slightly nicer shield, also looks great. So it's like, I like what I'm seeing here. What can I say? This is what I expected and this is what I wanted. I would like to mention specifically this Assault Terminator because I love this pose, I like it a lot. And also I have to mention that I love how this one looks as well, with that charging with the shield. It looks awesome, it looks amazing. As I said, at some point you're going to see me painting these miniatures. I'm glad that they went for some nice action poses. They feel good, they feel very natural. I would like to see some of them in person because I'm sure that with some of them I would like to change the pose of the arms a little bit, to try something different, but I don't want to complain about them. I also like a lot that they feel quite, I mean, of course they are generic Space Marines, so we can turn these miniatures into every chapter that we can imagine. So I'm happy about that as well because it feels like there's like a lot of room there for customization and to try to make these Terminators into every specific chapter that we want. So great. Now let's talk about the exact same Terminators, but this time they are going to be wearing lightning claws. This unit feels different with the previous one, like the poses feel different to me. That's always a plus for me when we can change the weapons of the unit and they feel slightly different. It's not just the exact same miniature with the exact same pose, but just changing the weapons. So I'm glad that they went for different poses for those arms as well. This is exactly what I was expecting because we already saw this weapon on the Wolfguard Terminators of the Space Wolves. So again, these miniatures are exactly what I was expecting from them and they delivered. And basically these are my first impressions and thoughts about the new Assault Terminators. I think that they were great. I think that this is something that they really needed, and it's a super iconic unit of the Space Marines and Warhammer 40k in general. So this is what I wanted, just to take the original Terminator and bring it up to today's standards. So that's great. This is a nice unit of Terminators and I'm looking forward to see them in person. Now let's talk about that Ancient in Terminator Armour. Another awesome character wearing Terminator Armour. I think that all the Space Marine characters with Terminator Armour, they look very good. So here we have another one. I like a lot what they did with this one because it has like a nice action pose. Because most of the generic Space Marine Ancients, they are just carrying the banner, and this one is like having a nice action pose. He's shooting the Stormbolter, so I'm happy to see that in this miniature. It looks great. And also I like that the design of this miniature, like visually, it reminds me a lot of the Captain in Terminator Armour, one of the choices that we have for that Captain. So there's like a nice consistency there with the characters, and in both cases that looks great. I like a lot the decoration of the Power Armor. I like a lot that there's that sword next to him. It looks great as well. It makes the miniature stand out even more, and as I said, it's a nice pose. But of course we have to talk about that banner. It's a really beautiful banner, and actually it's funny because the last video that I made talking about miniatures, it was about the Victrix guard, that they also had an awesome banner. So just in case, I will leave the link in the description, but let's continue talking about this one. We have a very generic banner, and that's awesome because of course let's not forget that this is a generic character for any Space Marine chapter, so we have to be able to customize the banner to fit into our chapter. So we have a huge Aquila right there. It looks great, and especially if we paint it with gold, it's going to like pop out a lot, so that's always great. Then we have the laurels, also great, and we have the nice gap in the middle that we can use to put whatever chapter symbol that we want. That's always great, and we have a nice space for add some writings there, and of course we have some nice detail at the bottom. So I don't know, I think it's a really cool banner that it's going to offer us a lot of cool customization options to this Ancient in 20 chapter, so that's always something that I will welcome. To me, the weirdest part about this miniature is this image right here, because when the miniature is fully assembled, his head is looking in the exact same direction that he's shooting at. Of course, makes sense. But then we have three other head options for this miniature, and they are all looking in the opposite direction, so I want to see how that is going to work. So at least I would like to see the instructions to see how many possibilities we're going to have to assemble this miniature, or how that is going to work, if we can like have a different pose for it. So I'm looking forward to see that. Aside from these miniatures, they also announced a huge box with 18 Terminators inside. That it's awesome, it looks great. We have 5 of the regular Terminators, and then we have 10 of the new Assault Terminators, which is great because we can have a set of them with thunder hammers and shields, and then we can have the other half with the lightning claws. And we have 3 characters. We have the Chaplain in Terminator Armour, awesome, the Captain in Terminator Armour, awesome as well, and we have the new Ancient. For someone that wants to start collecting Terminators or want to add these miniatures to their collection, I think that this is an awesome box, like by itself. All these miniatures look awesome, they are super new, like all of them are from the current edition of Warhammer 40k, so they are almost brand new kits, so this is a really good looking box. But it's not only that it's a really good looking box with good miniatures inside and a lot of different customization options for those miniatures, because it's a full kit, so we are going to be able to do a lot of things with them. It's not only that, it's also that there's like a lot of points inside of this box, so basically we almost have like half of an army here, and that's always great. Anyway, I just wanted to share that I like the new Terminators, and I wanted to say what I think about them and share my first impressions with all of you. So again, I invite you to let me know in the comments what you think about these new miniatures and this new box as well. At this point, I would also like to remind you that if you enjoy the content of the channel and you would like to support me and help me to continue growing and improving, I invite you to check the link to my Patreon in the description. And with all of that being said, this is it, this is the end of the video. So of course, as always, if you're still here, please consider giving me a like and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.